Hey everybody, Ray Hyclack here, host of the Corncast, and coming up, the Ray High Class. Yeah, that's right, the Ray High Class coming soon. Just finished 30 for 30 Long Gone Summer, and to be honest with you, as a kid who grew up in that time, 1998, I was 9 years old, looking up to guys like Mark McGwire, looking up to guys like Sammy Sosa. Um, it hurts a little. If you want my honest opinion on this, it hurts because if you look at the mounting evidence, the people saying, and even Sammy Sosa himself admitting the fact that he used performance enhancing drugs. And I'm just going to come out with that right now because fuck it, to be honest. I don't there's so much that I want to unpack about this after watching this that it can't be done in a 10-minute 15-minute video because of the idea that there's just so much to unpack, so many layers that came from this, and so many things that in 20 years later almost, we're looking at probably the biggest scandal in Major League Baseball. And yes, it's been exposed. Yes, everything has been kind of brought to light. But I don't see any guilt after this. I don't see any guilt from McGwire. I don't see any guilt from Sammy Sosa for this. And it's really a shame, to be honest. And I think we should break this down real quick in a way where it's I don't know. To be honest, guys, I have no idea how to really put this into words. I remember the emotions I felt in 98, being happy that, because I was a baseball fan. I still am. I like baseball. The only two teams I really, really, really don't like is the Chicago Cubs, because I'll show you this. I'm a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, have been since 1997. I've lived in the city of Cleveland, which has had multiple World Series on top of World Series where we've lost year after year, but I am a Pittsburgh Pirates fan. So I want real quick to let you guys know that this is actually coming from a baseball fan perspective rather than a fan perspective, and a guy who was an athlete at one point in his life. I know I don't look like it, but I'll let this t-shirt speak for myself. I did play hockey at one point in my life, and we've had some controversies as well, and we've had a lot of different things happen in our sport that has kind of denigrated any kind of professional look to it. But at the same time, baseball until the mid 2000s was America's game. And honestly, those two were sort of the catalyst. I'm talking about McGwire and Sosa, to be the catalyst for the downfall of our sport. Because I'm a big baseball fan. I've been a baseball fan my entire life. My dad raised me on it. I like going to games. I like watching games. I've always told people there's nothing better than getting really really high and drunk and sitting in the sun at a baseball stadium for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long the game lasts. I've been at 7-hour games where it's all of a sudden Albert Pujols hits a home run against the Pirates and it's all over. I've loved baseball to death. It's one of those things that me and my father, who passed away in 2009, we shared a love with, and to be honest, this documentary really just shows a lot of the seedy underbelly, really, of professional sports. I'm a UFC fan. We've had steroid use in the past. Hockey, same thing. Football, you've had steroid users. But this is just egregious. I'm sorry. And, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, I'm just going to give you these two right off the bat because you guys definitely did not help the game in the long run. There's no way at all, especially after the fact that, and it was shown in the documentary itself with Mark McGwire looking dead in the camera and going, "Oh, it was no big deal." And then all of a sudden, the guys who had made the steroids that I was using weren't having my back. No shit, Mark. No fucking shit. That they knew they were doing something wrong, yet you still did something about it. You didn't do shit about it. You still got on the plate and hit home runs until it hit 7-0. And to be honest with you, the fact I remember, and yes, this is going to sound completely shitty on my part, but I'm an angry baseball fan after watching this because there is no way in hell. And also there's a lot of things that I've always blamed him for. This is Bud Selig. Bud Selig, to be honest with the interview itself, yes, it's on you, pal, because you didn't test these athletes. You didn't test them. And yeah, I know the old thing. I'm a comic. I know the old thing of like, I don't care if they're, hitting baseballs 1,500 feet and have big heads. I do. Because steroids hurt everybody. No matter what happens, no matter what kind of person's good comes from it, it hurts the greater good of the sport because then there's the stigma. There's the stigma of steroids in your sport, and baseball has always been one of those sports. And I'm a big baseball fan. Until 2018, I was a big Pittsburgh or a Houston Astros fan until they found out, or we all found out, that they cheated to win the World Series in 2017. I will never wear a Houston Astros logo on my body in any shape or form because of the fact they cheated. And I will come out with that right now. I was a big Mark McGwire fan. Wasn't a big Sammy Sosa fan because I was, a kid from Cleveland. Chicago and Cleveland are sort of, it's like St. Louis and Chicago. There's a 6-hour difference between us, and there's a rivalry. Obviously, with Chicago winning the World Series in 2018, that, makes me not like them more. But I'm going to focus on Mark McGwire for right now, and then we'll get into Sammy Sosa. Because honestly, after watching 30 for 30 Long Gone Summer, I am completely baffled by the lack of guilt that Mark McGwire has. And I'm also going to say this for the St. Louis Cardinals fans and the Chicago Cubs fans who still defend these two. You are not real baseball fans, and you are not real sports fans. You are the guys who go to boxing events just to see the knockouts. You are the guys who go to see the UFC events just to see knockouts. You are not real baseball fans because you're not thinking about the other gentlemen on that field who his and Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire I'm talking about, their actions affected those players down to the rookies for the rest of their lives because people look at baseball as a steroid-ridden sport. There's always going to be that stigma. Yes, okay, 70 home runs, 66 home runs, cool. Get it. And if you're one of those people talking about Barry Bonds, fuck Barry Bonds too. Because of the fact that they all used performance-enhancing drugs to get where they are. And I'm not saying Babe Ruth, there's the rumors of Babe Ruth and, whatever, using certain things. But these guys were in the media when the media was starting to become big. We're talking the late 90s, the rise of radio and television into the internet era. I guarantee you, if they were players back in the day, when the internet was big, this would have been exploded and they would have been suspended without a doubt. And that's what pisses me off about this. I am for all fair game in a sporting event. Do whatever you got to do to win outside of drugs. I am more of the guy from Major League who would be like, Geritol, Crisco on my body to get an advantage before taking a drug. Ever. And that's the one thing that really bothers me about this is there's no remorse. There's absolutely no remorse for what they did. And it really bothers me, the fact that Mark McGwire looked in the camera and was like, it was the Wild West. You shouldn't have been doing it, Mark. You shouldn't have been fucking doing it. To be honest with you, that's more of an omission of guilt than anything in the world. And then, here's what really bothers me. The St. Louis Press, the people that were on that show, 30 for 30 Long Gone Summer, who were like, everybody does it. It's because, and this follows a lot of the political bullshit we hear today, which is if it's our guy, it's O-fucking-K. And you know what that means? Shit gets fucked up because the real message is completely lost. Mark McGwire showed no remorse from this. Absolutely none. And he needs to be held accountable. Yes, he cheated. I'm not expecting jail time. I am not expecting jail time, and I want everybody watching this video to know that I am not expecting jail time. What I am expecting is pure and simple. Reset the record for Maris. 61 should still to this day be what everybody is striving for, not 72 with Barry Bonds, who again, steroid user, and to the end of his career never admitted it. Barry Bonds was a Pittsburgh Pirate, and I loved the motherfucker until he decided to take steroids. Until. And that's, to me, one of the biggest problems of this documentary. There is no accountability. Absolutely none for Mark McGwire or Sammy Sosa. Sammy Sosa, to be honest with you too, I'm going to give you yours. With you, pal, I've seen you in baseball stadiums. Fuck you. Because you say, I have a granddaughter and I've made my peace with God. You're, my friend, are the biggest issue of this whole thing besides Mark. You two are like Capone and any other mob boss. Because, again, I'm thinking off the top of my head when I'm doing this. But at the same time, I have to get my opinions out on this documentary. Because I watched Mark McGwire break Roger Maris's record in September in 1998. There's the house I'm staying at right now is 15 blocks. 15 blocks from where I watched Mark McGwire completely destroy the record of Roger Maris and the memory of Roger Maris. This whole documentary is a show of just if it's our guy, we're gonna hold him. I honestly think the Cubs, I have more respect for the Cubs right now than I've ever had in my life because Sammy Sosa is nowhere allowed with the Chicago Cubs organization. Good for you. You earned your World Series in 2016. You earned your World Series because of the fact that you do not allow a scumbag like Sammy Sosa to run your halls The Cardinals organization, on the other hand, for inducting Mark McGwire into your Hall of Fame, it's completely unforgivable. And yes, this is coming from a Pirates fan. I will give full thing. But here's the problem. I looked up to Mark McGwire. 1998, I was 9 years old. I remember watching Mark McGwire hit number 62 live on television. Joe Buck announcing the game, and he hit that home run. And to be honest, the groundskeeper, Furnace, I believe, don't quote me, the fact that he gave that ball to Mark McGwire, that's fine. I also find it really funny that Todd McFarlane, the comic book artist, owns those home run balls. That's great. To me, it goes into a perfect person's hand, especially Todd McFarlane, who has created such great things like Spawn and also Image Comics. Sorry, I'm kind of drunk when I'm doing this, but I'm kind of angry too because I remember being a kid, and then in 2008, 7, the steroid scandal hit and implicated Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. McGwire admitting that he shouldn't and people shouldn't take steroids, that's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful thing to keep your image that way. But it's not right, and it shouldn't be that right. There's no way you can look at yourself in the mirror every day and go, 70 home runs was mine. 70 home runs was mine, and I am the second all-time leader. If the fact that you can sleep at night, you little fuck, can be anything, you're a piece of shit. And that's, to be honest. I'm not, again, anything he did before, I don't know. Whatever kind of, I don't know what him and Canseco were doing. I don't know what the things were with the Oakland A's. To be honest with you, it doesn't matter. You accepted a Hall of Fame bid from the St. Louis Cardinals. You accepted a Hall of Fame bid by the St. Louis fucking Cardinals, and you took it. What does that say about your character, McGwire? I don't give a fuck if you feel bad about it. You still did it. And you shouldn't be celebrating it. I had a friend of mine who's a St. Louis Cardinal, a St. Louis Cardinal fan. Not going to mention his name. I'm going to try and have him on here soon on the new podcast that I'm working on. But he even said Mark McGwire should not be celebrated. He shouldn't be. There's no way in hell I would ever celebrate the name Mark McGwire or Sammy Sosa. And the thing with Sammy Sosa in that last part of it where he goes, I've made my peace with God and I have a granddaughter now. You threw your fucking granddaughter into the conversation. You piece of shit. This isn't about your granddaughter. This is about the American people that you two foisted a bullshit work on because you decided to take steroids. The fact that you motherfuckers have no remorse about this and took a man like Roger Maris who didn't do a goddamn thing that we know of. And if Roger Maris, turns out he was doing, I don't know, mule testosterone back in the fucking 50s. I can understand, mule is still cheating. I'm not saying it's a thing. Take the record back, give it to fucking Babe. Although Babe also had his own things. And it shows to me that a lot of pro athletes who think that they're doing the greater good because of ratings and money and merchandise and all of these things, it's not right at all. It should not be championed. And I loved ESPN 30 for 30's take on it because even Bob Costas, a man who has pissed people off and really gotten in people's faces in sports and talked shit. I mean, I can still remember Bob Costas at the 1994 NBA championship when the Houston Rockets won against the New York Knicks, said that the Houston Rockets had become the champions of the basketball world just barely. He saved his image in my mind by showing remorse as a media member and looking at the camera and then going, in the long run, it hurt. And it did, because it put a black eye on baseball. It put a black fucking eye on this sport because of the fact that now any guy who hits 40 home runs, any guy who hits, let's just say 40 RBIs, just to throw a number out there, they're immediately thrown in by casual fans as, oh, that guy might be doing steroids. And that goes in a direct effect from Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. That summer of home runs, though it may have built the profile of baseball in this country, did not help at all. And they should not be praised. They should not be put in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds should not be put in the Hall of Fame. And to be honest with you, anybody who did steroids in the 90s or early 2000s should be completely wiped from the history books, at least in the records that they hold. If you did steroids, I'm not saying erase your whole baseball career. I'm saying any record you hold, if you did steroids in the 90s and early 2000s, it should be wiped away and given back to the person that was the rightful heir. Because even Roger Maris's kids said he was having panic attacks in the 50s about being that person. And also, real quick, I love the sports media, because the sports media, you showed your true colors tonight by being homers. Chicago and St. Louis both showed that they were nothing but homers because of the fact that even though the Chicago Cardinals, the Chicago Cubs won their first World Series in 2016, I get it, 2018, never mind, 2016 was Kansas City, that's my bad, I apologize for that. 2018, when the Cubs won the World Series, they did it without Sammy Sosa and they did it without cheating. And this is coming from a Houston Astros fan. So 2017 to me is the worst year of my life now that I know that they cheated. Cheats never should win, and cheats never should prosper. And to be honest, and it's gross how both men in the documentary just completely justified their actions without giving any kind of thing. And then McGwire saying, oh, I feel bad. No, you don't, Mark. You don't. And you know it. And I want to look you dead in the face I want somebody to share this. And look at you looking at me dead in the face and saying you're sorry. Because you won't. And I know you won't. So my review on 30 for 30, if I'm going to give it a star rating, 4.5 stars, definitely. Really well done. Had great things of Jack Buck, Harry Carey's grandson, who was a Pirates announcer for a little while. That was kind of cool to see him again. But all in all, man, this documentary really showed me the remorselessness of those two guys. And to be honest, they should be stricken from the record books just based on their remorselessness. And those records should be given back to people like Roger Maris who worked for them. So that's my short little thing on 30 for 30 Long Gone Summer. Hope you like it. Give me a subscription down below. And I will be doing, coming up very soon, this is the official announcement, the Ray High Class. It's a podcast interview show that I'll be doing on this very channel every week. And I hope you guys enjoy it. But honestly, I just had to make a reaction video to this because I've been a baseball fan my entire life. My parents took me to Municipal Stadium when I was like maybe 2. I got to see one of Nolan Ryan's last games in Cleveland. I'm a Pirates fan going from 1997. And I'm a very, very angry Astros fan. I will not wear an Astros t-shirt. I will not say their name. And I will not watch a game of theirs when they're on television because of what they did in 2017, taking a World Series the most unethical ways possible by stealing signs and, having apparatuses at home games is just gross. So I want you guys to know that this is not coming from an impassioned area. This is coming from a fan perspective. And to be honest with you, again, the whole thing was kind of gross. There's no real remorse behind their words. They did that just because, in my opinion, there's a camera in front of them. So, thank you guys for watching. And my name is Ray Hyclack, and this is my channel. Give me a like, share, and subscribe. It helps me out in the long run. And once again, thank you very much, guys. And I will be putting more content on my YouTube channel as the months go on. So thank you very much, and hope to hear from you soon. Thanks, guys.